Miranda Burton is the founder of Marion's house here in Charleston, but she has a story to tell of her own. She's a survivor of child sexual abuse. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Miranda one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Miranda, it is so good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you greatly. Well, this is my first time actually meeting you. So I went on your Facebook page and looked at the introduction of you, and it says this: certified facilitator at Darkness to Light, founder of Marion's House, former teacher at Berkeley County Schools, former National Accounts and Media Alliance at Monster Worldwide, former teacher at Thomas Hart Academy, studied organizational behavior management at Ashford University, studies psychology at Coker College. But you, Miranda Burton, have a story to tell.
I do.
What headline is that when you think of that story?
I am someone that went from victim to survivor. I had a lot of obstacles to overcome me, but I've managed to overcome them in the end, so yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Angie Jackson, a reporter with the Post and Courier, did a story with you back in March of 2017.
Yes.
At the time, she said this quote: she had stayed focused as a youth, driven in academics and extracurricular activities. The distraction helped push the nightmares of her past out of her mind. But in college, away from the structure of home life, a deep depression set in. Burton's grades slipped. She felt angry and broken, as if she had no control. Talk to me about the structure that you had away from home.
Let's see, well, I come from a home where, going off to college, my mom was a minister in the church, so very structured, PK, preacher's kid. So, very by the book.
Sure.
To get into college where I'm wide open and I'm able to really experience life on my own and make my own choices. In the midst of making those choices, my past began to affect me, and it affected me in school. I am a survivor of child sexual abuse. And so throughout K through 12th grade, you could say, I was able to keep using my academics as something to kind of keep me going, and that was my focus. And also my friends were my focus. But once I got off to college and had to kind of start making my own life, it was a little bit more difficult. So at that time, that's when I began to kind of struggle with, who am I? How do I accomplish my goals? How can I allow what I've experienced as a child and the child sexual abuse to not impact me in a negative way, but allow me to go further in my career?
And Angie Jackson went on to write this in her Post and Courier article about you. She says this quote: Burton recognized this feeling, powerlessness. She had experienced it at age 3 when a male relative molested her. She was victimized again at the age of 6, that time by a woman, someone close to her family. The sexual abuse went on for a year. The woman later reached out to Burton in college, triggering her emotions at a vulnerable time. Tell me, when that person reached out to you, where did your mind go to?
Well, the problem is I had not disclosed that the female pedophile had molested me to my family. So I was dealing with that, and then when she called me as if nothing was wrong. So she said, I'm so proud of you, I just want to call, I hear you're in college and doing well. And to her it was normal, because she actually thought I didn't remember the abuse that I experienced beginning at the age of 6 with her. Wow. But she always treated me like her daughter, but her form of treating me like a daughter was to molest me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. The article actually also goes on to say this, quote: after immediately disclosing the incident that occurred when she was free, but being too young to understand the ramifications for the perpetrator, she kept quiet about the later abuse for many years. And as I mentioned, you kept it quiet about the first abuse for some time. But can I ask, what was building inside you when you kept quiet?
Well, the first abuser, when I was at the age of 3, I did disclose that abuse. It was my aunt's husband at the time. So there was prosecution. Because I was only 3 years old, I didn't understand. Right. My mom explained to me later there were charges pressed. Right. He did plead guilty and received a lesser sentence, which is the reason that he was not in jail. So I didn't understand that. All I knew was that I'm still seeing this man be a part of my family and being around and a part of my life. So for me, when I was sexually abused at the age of 6, I said there's no reason to say anything, because that person's not going to go away, because this man is still a part of my family. And then I also questioned, because my mom had instilled in me, don't let a man touch you, don't let a boy touch you, that when it was a female touching me, I was confused about what was right and what was wrong.
Okay.
So I struggled with being able to disclose that.
Who is Miranda Burton these days?
Miranda Burton is empowered. She is strong. She is doing everything she can to get her mission, her story out, and figuring out how to help as many kids and families as possible. I'm in the school systems. I work for Charleston County right now. I also, on Thursdays, I'm at Greg Mathis. They're a partner with Marion's House. So I'm there every Thursday working with the kids. Right now we're doing a Speak Out series where I'm going into the classrooms and actually talking to individual classes doing their skinny block and sharing my survivor story of sexual abuse and letting them know that if they have experienced it, they can overcome it. If they haven't, be aware that it does exist. And then also let them know that if they have experienced it and haven't told anyone, it's not too late to get the help and the support that you need.
I know I'm being a little redundant, but I'm going to go back to the article because it also says this, quote, Burton, now 32, eventually found her voice. Through her nonprofit, Marion's House, Burton aims to empower kids who have been sexually abused. She wants you to know that they are not defined by their experience. I just asked you who you are these days, but tell me, how strong is your voice right now?
Very strong. I self-advocate all the time in every aspect of my life. When it comes to friends, family, friendships, my career, I make sure that my voice is always heard. Some may see that, I always be seen as a positive thing. Maybe sometimes I'm too passionate or too strong. But I stand by what I say, and I try to make sure that my voice is loud and clear and that there's no exception. At no point in time will someone think that my words aren't clear or think that I'm not 3 years old anymore, so there's no reason to question whether what I'm saying is the truth or not. Anything I say is cut and dry, and people know exactly who I am.
Yeah. And I know that you speak to the kids a lot at Greg Mathis and other locations, and I know that you don't want people, really the kids, to be defined by their experience. Silly question, what do you want them to be defined as?
I want them to think about what they can do. I want them to think beyond their now and think about what they can accomplish. So if you're here and you're in this situation and you feel like academics I haven't done well, but now I'm in my junior and senior year, this is a time, it's not too late. You can still turn around, you can still make a difference. When I'm talking with kids that are survivors of child sexual abuse, I want them to know that just because today you feel like a victim, it's in the power of the tongue. If you say you're a survivor today, your survivor path will begin today. So they can go forward, they can excel. If academics are not their strong point, what else are you good at? Can you use your hands? Can you sing? What else can you do? There's so many other things that are available to you in order to excel and do exactly what you want to do. Here I am with 2 degrees, but Marion's House, I really don't need those degrees to do either of those things. All I need is my life that I've lived, but I've chosen to let my degrees be my foundation and still going forward with what was already my life story.
Marion's House. I understand from what I've read here in the Post Stories article that it came from your late grandmother.
Yes, my grandmother's name was Miranda Burton. She was a huge matriarch. She continued in our family to bring people into the home and in the community. She was bringing them into her home. She was a retired nurse, and so after she retired, she did home health nursing. So she would bring elderly people. She would see that they didn't have any family support, so she started moving them into her home. There were abused kids that lived with her. There were other family members that lived with her. Anybody that needed support. At one point in time, after my sexual abuse, I lived in Marion's house. So it became kind of a family joke. Oh, Lord, who Marion got in her house now? So I had no choice but to name Marion's House, the organization, after my grandmother, because she took me in, she took so many others in. So just like she took Marion's House and people into her home, I want to bring Marion's House into other people's home. I want them to know that child sexual abuse does not have to be taboo, and we can change and make a difference today.
If she was sitting here with you right now, one-on-one, what would you say to her? Because I know my grandmother, I know she's proud of me. And I just want to thank her for showing me what love looks like, and also showing me that regardless to what you have going on in your home, you can do more outside of your home. My grandmother, no matter what she had going on, whatever trials and tribulations, even down to her last year of life with pancreatic cancer, a lot of people never even knew she was sick. As she began to lose weight, she used every struggle that she had in her life to be a blessing. She was like, oh, I'm losing weight? Well, now I just look better. So, she used every obstacle that came to her as a way to, her struggle became a success. So I just want to thank her for teaching me that and instilling in me strength, encouragement, and the desire to help others. Wow, that's amazing. You talk about success. You also told the whole story this. You actually said this on the Facebook page, quote, my plan was to speak and inspire others, but I got inspired and helped myself along with others. Tell me, how will you inspire yourself and help others in the future?
Every time I share my story, it's a second healing for me. Being here today is a healing for me. Even though I'm already in the survivor stage, it's a step. It's a every day is a different step. You have different days. You have good days. You have bad days. But through sharing my story, through helping another child, every time I see someone else get empowered or get inspired, it inspires me. I can tell you a couple weeks ago, I was at Greg Mathis sharing my story with a group. And while I was there, one of the students at the end, she shared that she was also a survivor of sexual abuse. That I got there and was not having my best day. But I still pushed through and was there to share my story. But after I heard that, I couldn't help but have a good day. I came here to share my story with one person, and then with a whole group. And then this one person felt confident and had the courage enough because I spoke out to speak out as well. So I continue to be inspired, whether it's an adult survivor, a child survivor, anyone that's willing to have a voice piece. And see, right now, I don't know if you're aware, but on Tuesdays, I do what's called speak out events.
Right.
So I've been doing these since the end of January. Usually speak outs only happen in the month of April, which is Awareness Month.
Okay.
So organizations that focus on sexual assault or child sexual abuse give a environment for survivors to feel safe and comfortable sharing their story. So what I've been doing through the Marion's House page is that we're not going to limit it to a day. We're not going to limit it to one event or limit it to a location. I'm allowing all survivors from all over, no matter their location, to come on the Facebook Live, and we're actually doing a speak out. So I have different survivors. I had one from California, I have one from Florence, South Carolina. I have a few more that are coming on in the coming weeks.
Right.
And then on alternating weeks of having live speakers, then I'm on there talking. So like this current week, this past Tuesday, we just had Alicia B with the Tell Somebody movement to come on and share hers. The previous week, I was on there talking.
Okay.
And so my topic was focused on how to survive when your pedophile is still a member of your family. And that's a difficult thing because I had to figure that out. I had to figure out how to not allow insecurities, feeling worthless, feeling like I'm not supported or loved because my family still allowed this person to be in the environment, that I could do more than that. So for me, I excelled. I found other strengths. I found music as a strength. I found, academics as a strength, working and helping others. So when I didn't feel that love or connection in my family, I found it in other places. So I tell people all the time, your family is not always the people you share blood with. Sometimes it's whoever supports you. So I found support through being in community centers and my church group and participating in a Christian step team. That was my sisterhood because I was the only child. So I found ways to find support and gain that empowerment through other things when I couldn't have it in that particular moment. Yeah.
Have you forgiven those people?
I have. I tell people all the time, I made a conscious choice to forgive people that have never said they're sorry. Yeah.
Wow, amazing, powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Miranda Burton, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.